Welcome to the HR Morning Booze. Kirsty Baggs-Morgan. Sorry, I forgot my own name then, so that's a really good start. And before we get started this morning, I just want to talk to you a little bit about our sponsors, ULife. Medical insurance is something that we all have to have in all of our organisations. And one of the things that's always driven me potty is that employees just don't take any interest in it. They don't seem to realise what it is that they have. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because it's really boring. So one of the things that I love about ULife is that they have managed somehow to make things like group life, health insurance, dental and income protection insurance interesting, because they have, in addition to those insurance products, they have a gamified app that actually makes well-being fun, which I know is a bit of a shock to you, but they've got over 1 million employees already using the ULife app, and they have 80% weekly engagement from that app. So when you get around to renewal time this year and you're looking at the insurance offering that you have with your company, why not have a think about switching to ULife? Because not only will you get your insurance, but you'll get the really fun side of it as well. So let's get into this morning's session. So I am joined this morning by Carla Piera FitzGerald. Good morning, Carla.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Kirsty. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Full disclosure, everybody, Carla is also my best friend. I'm not going to pretend that I don't know her. So if you're joining us this morning, let us know where you are. Oh, I see that they've already put the comment in the chat for that, but let us know where you're dialing in from this morning. So Carla and I have been friends now for about 5 years, I think it is.
Yes. Yeah. 2020.
And I'll leave it up to you if you want to talk later on about how we met, because your version of the story is quite amusing. But the reason I've asked Carla to join me today is there is a big health and well-being element to Carla's story, but she's also one of the most inspirational people that I know. And I've been very privileged to be in her life as her friend for a big chunk of that journey. So Carla, why don't you start us off by just telling everybody your story? Like how has your life changed in the last 5-6 years?
Quite considerably, I would say, that has changed the last 5 years, 5-6 years. So I had been overweight my whole life. I was always like the biggest girl in school. I was always the one, who like would get picked last for games, or wouldn't fit into the Halloween costumes that everybody else did, and was never able to go shopping with my friends in those like little boutique shops that you guys definitely have all over the UK, and we had in like the 90s and noughties here in Dublin as well. And I'd always wanted to lose weight. Like I was always on some kind of diet, like constantly my whole life, like trying to lose, like I'd lose 5 pounds or something, and then I'd put it all back on again. And I tried every single diet. Like I counted sins, I counted points, I counted net carbs, and did cabbage soup diets. And
Oh God.
I took the pills, the ones that make you let's say just leek oil is probably the best. Sorry, excuse me. I know it's very early. I hope nobody's eating their breakfast, but if you've had them, you know what I'm talking about. So I tried it all, but like nothing ever stuck. But I was always kind of, very, very hard on myself. I was always speaking really negatively about myself, but I didn't realize that that was something that was different, that that was not something that everybody does. It was something that was a bit strange that people would do. So like anything that I would do, I would blame myself. I would be really, really hard on myself, no matter what accomplishment I had in life, like going through college, getting a job, being a senior manager for a charity, running a huge marketing campaigns for the charity, and having these big events and things like that. I would always be like, oh God, you're an idiot, or you're horrible, or like you can't, like, why can't you lose weight? Like, what's wrong with you? And I would have this like basically 24/7, but while trying to lose weight as well the whole time, so it's this kind of like really weird cycle that just didn't really make any sense, like
And
trying.
it's like you're fighting yourself almost, because part of
Literally.
you wants to do it and the other part of you is holding you back from sticking to it.
Exactly. Like, and you do it because you're trying to do it because somebody's told you to do it, or you're trying to lose weight because somebody has shamed you or bribed you or told you have to. It's always an external thing. And there was so many, that this is like the guts of 30 years of my life was like this. But I figured there had to be something wrong. Like I never kind of equated the mental part to the fact that I had physical weight around me. And I decided that there must be something wrong with me and that I must be celiac. Like there has to be a reason why I can't lose weight. And I went to the doctors, went to my GP, and I sat down in front of him and I was like, and I was about to say celiac. And I just said, I think I need help. And at that point, I was in my early 20s, and he diagnosed me with binge eating disorder and depression. And he said words to me that they kind of planted a seed, but they didn't really make any sense to me. And he said, when you fix the head, the weight will just fall off. And I was like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, what's wrong with this man? Like, this GP typical. Like, this is like, what are you talking about? Like, the head, like, my body is the issue. And I had a little bit of success with therapy. I did therapy for binge eating disorder at the time, but nothing stuck. I wasn't really able to lose any weight. It just seemed to stay on. I lost a little bit and then it came back again. And at the time, I hadn't seen my sister. This is about nearly 10 years later. I hadn't seen my sister for a while. And all of a sudden, I was borrowing something from her. And she's 18 years older than me. Always been my biggest inspiration. But she has always also been overweight her whole life. So it was kind of like this, like blood pact, like it's okay that she's overweight. She wasn't as overweight as I was at the time, but she all of a sudden had started to lose weight. And I was like, what's this? What's happening here? What are you doing? And she told me that she had started this program and it's called BodySlims, the program that I did. And at the same time, I had this realization that that negative self-talk that I had, that the way I spoke about myself and to myself was so insidious. And I was like, this is not my voice. This doesn't belong to me. Like, what is this? And I went back to that GP and he was like, this is basically, finally, this is your Damascus moment. Like, this is where, things start to clear. And I went back and I did some more work on my head and I saw my sister losing this weight. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll give this a go. And in January 2020, I started the BodySlims program. And within the first cycle, so does it like 10-week cycles, I'd lost 42 pounds. And I was like, okay, this seems to be working. And it's just basically, it's really simple. It's just walking, calories, but working on the mindset. And the thing is, the guy who used to run it, the founder of the company, when he was doing the first seminar about mindset, he said in it, in a very less eloquent way than my doctor, but when you fix the ASS, I won't swear on the thing.
You can say arse.
Okay, when you fix your head, the arse will follow, is basically what he said. And I was like, okay, I know I'm in the right place, because that was like that clue that had been given to me 10 years before that. And I figured, like, when I realized that the weight that I was carrying didn't belong to me, that it was this manifestation of my negative self-talk, and that I actually deserved to treat myself with respect. And it wasn't like an overnight, like, I deserve to treat myself with respect now.
So I'm going to do that from tomorrow.
Yeah, it was slow, like it was a slow process. It was learning to treat myself with respect. It was learning to build belief in myself and to honor myself, because I must have said every single morning for years, I'm going to lose weight today, or I tell somebody, but like, Monday morning I'm starting, and I never would. So you totally lose yourself. And I built that up and actually started to trust myself. And when I started to lose weight, COVID hit. We were all inside, and I basically kind of had a decision. I was like, I can either keep going or can let this be an excuse. And not with hatred or with malice towards myself, but with compassion, to be like, this is something that is really good for you. You're actually seeing the benefits. You're feeling better. I'm moving better. I was more active than I'd ever been in, like, before. When I was a teenager, I wasn't as active as I was then at like 33. And I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. And 14 months later, I had lost 13 stone. So 183 pounds or 81 point something kilos. So I know all the different units of measurement for it.
Yeah.
And the month later, I got pregnant. So they had told me that I was probably in early menopause and that I wouldn't be able to have a child. And naturally, I got pregnant a month later after reaching my goal weight. So
I remember that. It was literally a month later, wasn't it?
literally a month later, I literally
Yeah.
got to my goal weight, and 1 month later, I was like, great. So no, I was delighted, obviously, to be pregnant, but it was like, whoo. And then I had my son. I had put on 40 pounds during the pregnancy, which is every single woman and birthing person's right to do so. And I lost that weight. Then I went back to do BodySlims, and the the company, I had been sharing my story because I wanted people to know, like, I had never seen anybody lose as much weight as I had wanted to lose naturally. Like, this is before
Mm.
GLP-1s became like this big
Yeah.
thing. It was like bariatric surgery was the big thing at the time, like, that a lot of people did. And I
Mm.
had considered it, but I was like, it probably would, if this hadn't worked, that would have been my next step.
But the
But
thing is, the bariatric surgery wouldn't have fixed your head.
exactly, exactly. And that's the thing that's missing from so many of the programs that I had done before, and every single attempt
None
that I
of
had
them
done before.
address that. And
They, and
I've done them all. I've lost the
yeah,
same 3 stone and put it back on again multiple times over my life. And I've done your Weight Watchers and all of that. I've never done Slimming World, but I've done a lot of them.
yeah,
And they never ever address the fact that
it's in here
it's
because
it's in your head.
that's like, you are the one that's putting the food into your mouth.
Mm,
There's a reason you don't get to be 23 stone like I was at the start without something else happening,
yeah.
without there being another reason. And
It's
it was
not greedy. It's not
not,
lazy.
not
There's a
this
heck of a
sure as
lot more
hell
going
wasn't
on than that.
laziness, like it was,
Yeah.
it's something else. And that's when I
Mm.
realized it was that negative self-talk, and it was all those cues. Because, like, we grew up, and I'm sure many people watching can remember all of those videos, that, like, what's
Oh
her
my
face, Posh
God.
Spice being weighed on the
Mm.
uh, the big
TGI
breakfast.
Friday. No,
Yeah,
TFI
yeah.
Friday.
After having her first son, to see if she had bounced back yet, and, like, the ring of shame that was on every magazine. And we all grew up with this, so it was totally
Yeah.
normal for us to criticize other people's bodies. And when your body is bigger than the one that they're criticizing, you're going, well, I must be the worst of the worst then. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting journey, but I wanted people to know that this is possible. I wanted just even one person, because I really honestly felt like I had been given, like, a get out of jail free card. Like, I had been in a prison my whole life, and finally I had gotten parole. I was acquitted, and I was just able to, like, step outside my body. And so I
So
started.
something I don't actually know the answer to, because you were already on Instagram as half of Carla,
Yeah,
but when we became friends, you were still on your weight loss journey. I think you were it was about another 4 months before you got to goal. So
yeah,
you were a long way through it. But so I know that you filmed the very first night that you went to your first ever Body Slims meeting. I know you filmed that, but you didn't post it for quite some time, did you? And when did you decide on half of Carla as like, did you
no.
genuinely think you would lose half your body weight?
No, the first I started recording it because I felt that this was different, because I had worked on that mental aspect
Hmm.
in the same time as, like, wanting to lose weight. I kind of felt like, okay, there's something here, that this might be different. And so I decided to record me driving. It used to be in person, and now it's fully online. And I decided to drive, and I recorded me driving. And you can see, like, that video. If you ever go back to my Instagram, you can see it. It's one of my first videos, and it's a totally different person. Like, it's
The only way I can tell it's you is because of your voice, and that's not because of how you look. It's everything about you. It's how you carry yourself. It's everything. It's only because I can hear it's you. It's
it's
so,
this, like, there's barriers up. There is, like, this, I used to say, the way people can be very offensive, like, or defensive. Like, I was offensive.
mm,
I was like, I would come at you with a barrier to be like, I had, like, resting bee face and everything, being like, don't screw with me, because I was
mhm.
so damaged inside. And I recorded that, and I just was like, I don't even know why I recorded it. I don't know. There was just something in me that said to do this.
Mm,
And then I first uploaded to Half of Carla in April 2020. And at that point, I was looking for a name. And part of the program that you do with Body Sims is they tell you basically to dare to dream. It's to push your dream, to push your goal to something that's really amazing. And my original goal had been
mm,
to lose 10 stone, which would have been great, or it would have been good. But really pushing myself to go, okay, what would it be like if I got, down to like a size 12, having been a UK size 24, 26. And that would have been half of Carla. And I was like, okay, that name kind of works. Like, that's half my body weight. Let's put that as a goal. And then I ended up losing more than half my body weight, but half of Carla kind of stuck. So it's really, that's why I decided that's where that name came from. And I just started to share just in the hopes that like one other person could know that it is possible to do it holistically. Like the traditional methods do work so long as you work on the head as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, the GLP-1s work, but they don't fix your head either. What they do is stop all the food noise.
Yeah. But then
they don't fix the psychology that, whatever it is that's causing it in the first place, that doesn't go away.
And that's like, no matter what intervention you do, like no matter whether it's any of the old school weight loss programs, no matter whether you do bariatric surgery, GLP-1 diets, a pill, BodySlims, if you don't fix the head, then
same as all the others.
When the intervention is over, when you stop taking the pills, or when it's a long time after the bariatric surgery, you will regain it. Like it will come back. And that's why the odds of weight loss are stacked, or weight maintenance are stacked against people who lose weight.
Yeah.
It's like The Biggest Loser. I'm sure you've seen like the Netflix series coming about, like, it's not, a lot of people will say like, is a diet sustainable? But it's not the diet that we're looking to sustain, it's the result. And the results you sustain by treating yourself well. I started like a week or two into COVID. We were all in our pajamas in lockdown, not knowing what's going on, sitting at home, kind of feeling, what's happening in the world, a very uncertain way of being. And I was like, okay, I can't sit like this anymore. I need to like do something. So I started getting up every morning and doing my full face of makeup the way I always used to do it. Doing like putting clothes on, like even not just like, I didn't have many clothes that fit me at the time, but I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to like just get dressed. And somebody asked me then, why do I get dressed? Because we thought we'd be 2 weeks in lockdown, and then 8 months later we're still in it. And people were asking me, why do I get dressed every morning just to sit at home? And I said, it's my way of showing up for myself. And that was where that term came from. Like, that kind of my motto that I live by now is like how I show up for myself. And it's by giving myself that little bit of something in the morning, just to go, a little bit of time to go, you're worth this effort. And it's not, I'm not saying that everybody has to put makeup on.
It means something different for everybody.
Exactly. For somebody else, like showing up, like for me as well, I walk every single morning. I get up early and I walk, and people are like, why do you do that? And I was like, because it's showing me that I'm worth this effort.
Yeah.
We give to so many other people, but we don't give to ourselves. And it's time for me to give to myself before my world wakes up.
There was, oh my God, there's so many questions I could ask you, and I know we're like halfway through already. It just flies by. I'm just thinking about, so for me, the showing up for myself is when I journal and when I go out for my walk. That is me making time for me. Now, you obviously now have a toddler, but there was a new hobby that you took up a year or two ago that is your ultimate showing up for yourself, I think, that just gives you time for you.
And it's because I've always been a dancer. Like, I loved dancing as a kid, but I was shamed out of dancing, out of ballet when I was a teenager, because my seat didn't tuck in enough and I couldn't be lifted by a male dancer, a male ballerina. So I had to, I left. I was basically shamed out of class, and I didn't dance then for years and years. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, I saw heels dancing, which is basically like, if you think of like Beyonce backing dancer, kind of, that kind of thing, like, not my type of music, but like it just looked like it was so fun and so empowering. And somehow I ended up in a dance class. And I remember texting you.
I remember. Oh my God. So Carla and I have so much in common. It's ridiculous. We always say we're basically the same person, apart from the dancing. It's my idea of a living hell, but you absolutely love it.
I love it. And to be able, like, to be welcomed, like, we have this idea that like groups of women together, it's typically women. There will be a couple of men there, but it's typically groups of women that they'll be very kind of bitchy and, not very nice to each other. But I was literally welcomed with open arms, like the community
Yeah,
for
you've
heel
had nothing
dancing,
but support.
nothing but support. And like in everything, then they've become really good friends now as well. I kept it to myself for a while, and then I started to share a little bit of my dancing journey online. And it was interesting, the feedback I got, there was a lot of women going, "This looks amazing, it's so empowering." And then there was "But where's your son? Like, where's your son when you're dancing?" And I'm like, "He's with his father, like my husband." Like, like he's not and there's this thing about this mom guilt that we should sacrifice every single part of our being for our children. And we do enough of that anyway. But to be able to go, "No, I actually need 2 hours a week just to have fun and not be mom," not be pulled at or ask questions, just to totally zone out for myself. And
Yeah.
there's no shame in it. But like I received an awful lot of shame from people for it. But thankfully I'm in a place where I can go, "Okay, no, that's your thing. That's not mine. I'm not going to
And
take that
it's been
on."
hard, hasn't it? Because I guess, oh my God, again, so many questions. Like your career has changed somewhat. So what were you doing when we first met? What was your
I was
job?
a senior manager specializing in communications for a charity that worked with
Yeah,
older people. So a very different job.
very different job. So you didn't need to go back there after maternity leave because you became the thing that I've laughed at you for the last 3 years, which is an
Yes,
influencer.
I'm not, I hate the word influencer, but I'm a content creator. I share my story online on YouTube and on Instagram. And from that, the BodySlims team actually asked me to be a brand ambassador for it. So I was a brand ambassador then, and I've worked with different organizations, and my my whole motto online is show up for yourself. And it's like how I do that, both as a mom and, as just a woman, just as a like near
Yeah.
40-year-old woman. And I then got a call last year that the head of BodySlims wanted to retire, and he asked would I take the mantle. And I basically become the head coach and one of the directors of BodySlims now, which is, as somebody really lovely on Instagram said, "You have become the person that you needed 5 years ago for other people." And that is because no matter what I've done, I've always just wanted to help people. That's always been part of my thing. I've always wanted to help people, but to be able to do this is like the most direct way that I can do it. And I'm still half of Carla, still sharing online, but it's this part of me now. And I have a podcast as well. So yeah, it's definitely
You've had some crazy opportunities, haven't you? You did a catwalk, you did a modeling
a
show.
modeling show. Yeah,
You
I
were on
did.
live TV with Brian Dowling. That was I like Brian Dowling, so I actually watched that.
Yeah, I was on
Done
live.
so many things. You've done
Yeah,
public speaking, you've lectured at a college.
yeah. It's things that I never would have thought I would have ever have done. I would have said no to, but
Mm,
before, but it's the confidence that I built in myself that allowed me. Like I would never have done this before. I'd be like, "Oh no, I can't."
no,
Like who? What am I to talk about anything? But
yeah.
you find yourself, and it's like sometimes we say like weight loss is the least significant part of weight loss, and it kind of is like looking, being a size 10 or whatever, that's lovely, that's really nice, but also the freedom to like get on a plane and not worry about a seatbelt extender, or not be worried that
Mm,
my weight is going to be used against me in a hospital setting. That freedom that's really, really life changing, like absolutely life changing. But there's also like the kind of show up for yourself, but also as yourself. Like
mm.
I've always been a little bit alt, like maybe soft goth, maybe is what some people will call it or something. But it's always part of me, and fashion has always been something that I've loved. And this journey has allowed me to do that. Has allowed me to delve into that. I know that you relate so much to that, like not being
Yeah.
what you're supposed to be, and being
Hmm.
feel like you are, like your real
Yeah.
person.
It's incredible. It's like because like, you look at both of us now are doing work that we wouldn't have believed we'd be doing a few years ago, and we're doing it as ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think there is a big confidence element to that, but also just that comfort in who you are. The comfort gives you confidence. It's like, I'm comfortable in my own skin now, finally. Took me a lot longer than it took you, but it's, and you are too. You're very comfortable with who you are. And I think that's so important because we spend so much time pretending to do, like trying to fit in, pretending to be someone we're not, unmasking. That when
Exactly.
you're actually able to let all of that go and be yourself, it's incredible.
And
Absolutely incredible.
you have to find, like, it's to be your authentic self is it's very scary. It's like, because
Mm,
you have to remove that mask that you've worn and that's
yeah.
shielded the real you. But like, as I was saying earlier about being like offensive, I think when you remove those barriers and you let people see the real you, you find people, you find your people. Like, a lot of people say you can't make friends in your 30s, 40s, 50s. And like, I met my best friend, online in my 30s because she bribed me with chocolate. But,
Oh, here we go.
she sent me vegan chocolate that I couldn't get in Ireland. So that's how we became
That's
friends.
how we became friends. Yeah, she gave me her address and she'd never given her address out to anyone online before. And then
Yeah.
we
Call me
started
friend.
calling each other best online buddies, didn't we? And we still call each other Bob now. It's
Yeah.
Bob and Bob. But yeah, Irish Bob and English Bob.
That's, yeah, Irish pub and English pub, and that's it. Like, I think it's really scary to do that, to step outside the person that you have been your whole life, and to be the real
Mm,
you. But the benefits are unbelievable. Like, they
yeah,
really, like, they totally outweigh the negative, and it's a definitely a period of adjustment, and it's quite
yeah,
scary, but it's really worth it. It's really
yeah.
amazing.
It absolutely is. I'd love to know, we've only got a couple of minutes, but I'd love to know from the people listening, what are some of the ways that you take time to show up for yourselves and just put
That'd be
yourself
amazing.
first? Or I would love to know that. I mean, like we said, it's things like me, it's things like, it's time, isn't it? It's making time
Yeah.
to do the things that are important to me. I have to have alone time every so often because everything I do all day long is quite peoply.
Yeah,
And
and so
so
do I. I have to sit in a dark room and watch Love Island sometimes, and that's the other thing that we
oh,
don't.
that's the other thing we differ on, your crap, your love of crap TV. But
Like, brain
zone
bubblegum.
out. Yeah,
Just zone
fair.
out,
That's
just to be like,
absolutely
I just need
fair.
to not think, or because a lot of the time, as I would imagine as well, like with like all the different roles that you have, like, you are
Mm,
giving a lot to other people, that you have
yeah,
to fill your cup as well. So I
yeah.
love some Deborah was here saying hers is body lotion. And it's so true.
Oh, I
That's one of
love
mine,
that.
is like just taking that time after a shower just to really, like, slowly just moisturize your body. It's like showing your body that you care about it. I love that.
I
This
love that.
and
That's
Alex
so
just singing,
cool.
dancing, and acting.
Theatre, singing, dancing, and acting. Oh my God, 250 books. Are you ever not reading, Alex? How on earth? Like I can do 50 and I feel like that's a lot of reading.
How do you do 250?
Yes, I want to hear more.
I've
Are
read
you
one
are you
book
a
this year.
full-time reader? You've read what? One.
One book this year.
Is it
I listen,
mine?
yeah.
Reading is not mine, to take some time every day to read something. Yeah, I love that. I
I love
sometimes I have to give myself permission to
to take the time.
stop
Yeah.
and do something just for me. Kindle
Yes.
Unlimited, so they tend to be a bit shorter, but I'm a fast reader.
That's
Yeah,
the
I was going
fast.
to say, I think you must be if you're getting through 250 in a year. That's incredible.
Does Audible
But
count? Because I do have, I'm like,
of course it does. You can read with your ears or your eyes.
yeah, well, no, but then I have like, then I'm pretty good at this. Then I have
Yeah,
like
you
quite,
would do it when you're walking. You listen to books
yeah, I
sometimes,
listen
don't
to
you?
audiobooks, yeah. And if I can't sleep, I listen to audiobooks, or so,
Yeah,
yeah, there you go. I love that
brilliant.
everyone is like book people.
Books, 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 aren't they? And
Audio,
actually, and this has only happened since I've known you, my makeup, I can totally tell if I put my face on,
yeah,
then I'm feeling good about myself and I'm making the effort. And I'll walk into the living room and Jules will be like, "Oh, you look lovely." And then then that's always my sign. Is like I've actually taken the time today.
I
Someone's just
love.
starting the book. I have long, wild nails, impractical but pretty. Yes, you do, Nikki. I've seen your nails.
They're not as long as yours,
Bring
Nikki, but
out.
my nails are definitely another one for me. Like, I have them
Oh
done every
yeah,
3 weeks.
you do. You
Yeah,
do, don't you?
Yeah, and a lot of
I
things
love that.
actually.
Everybody, well, keep hold of all of those things, people. Make sure that that you do give yourself that time because it is so important. Carla, thank you.
Thanks,
We need to
Kirsty.
have a catch up as well because we've both been so busy. We haven't seen you for ages. And when I do, it's on here. If anybody wants to check out Carla on social media, she is half of Carla on Instagram and on YouTube. You can see the video there that she recorded the first night she ever went to BodySlims. But it's a hell of a story, isn't it? Really
Thank
is.
you, guys.
So
Thank you, everyone.
thank you for joining me, Carla, and thank you to YouLife and to Bupa for making this possible. We will be back next week with Emma Jamil. So yeah,
Thanks,
thank you very
guys.
much.
Bye.